It is time for the Law News, sponsored by Gig and Jancola. We've got Michael Gig in studio this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yes. Chatting a bit about the types of law that you specialize in. I know you have your partner, Chris Jancola, who kind of touches on some other areas. Talk about what you specialize in.
Yeah, so I mainly do estates, estate planning, real estate, and then Chris does all of our personal injury, workers' compensation, and Social Security.
Yeah, and of course you answer legal questions, and you have been a member of the show, of course, for years now, which is wonderful.
It's hard to believe.
I know, when you think about it. But people are able to ask different questions, and my mom came to visit, and we were chatting, and she was mentioning something about a T.O.D, a transfer on death. Like, you talk about probate, right? Inheritance tax when someone passes away and you absorb an estate or something of that matter or that nature. But I'd never heard you talk about a T.O.D. She said this like I was this beneficiary and this was just a common thing. Yeah,
ironically, I was talking to clients about this just the other day, so the typical, acronym is T.O.D. or P.O.D. Okay? It's typically associated with bank accounts, checking or savings accounts. Most standard checking and savings accounts, you can't do like a POD or TOD designation. But what that basically is you're naming a beneficiary to that bank account. Normally, most people have like an IRA or a 401k or a pension or something through their work. And of course, most people know you can name beneficiaries to that. The most obvious too is life insurance. You can name beneficiaries to that. But a TOD or a POD on an account is basically transfer on death, payable on death to a person that you designate, and it's a beneficiary. So if you can set up an account like that, we've discussed before, there are, when you look at generally your estate, but all of your assets, it usually falls into one of two buckets. It's either probate assets or non-probate assets, okay? And to make it simple, non-probate assets are assets that when you pass away, they're either jointly owned with somebody else, spouse, kids, something like that, or they have a beneficiary designation to them. So typically, those things are, you might have joint bank accounts with your spouse. Some people, after their spouse passes, they put a child on there. So those would not be part of your estate. When you pass, they go directly to that surviving joint owner, as well as any of those beneficiary accounts. You name a beneficiary, it goes directly to that person outside of a probate proceeding, okay? So if you have a TOD or a POD account, those would be non-probate assets.
You avoid it.
You do, but then the caveat is, which maybe most people wouldn't be surprised, there's still inheritance tax on it.
Is there?
There is. So, if you have a joint account with somebody, other than your spouse, spouses don't pay inheritance tax, but with your kids, because like I said, a lot of people do that when one of their spouses passes away, there's inheritance tax on half of that account because technically your child owns the other half, so they're inheriting that other half. So the inheritance tax is half of that account. A POD or a TOD, you're inheriting the whole account, so there'd be inheritance tax on that whole, whatever's in that account when the person passes.
But she was making it seem too like that included the home.
No,
it's not, it's just the accounts?
Right. You cannot name a beneficiary to real estate like that, okay? You have a deed, whoever's on the deed when you pass away, it can be jointly owned, obviously it can be jointly owned with numerous people. Depending on how that deed is titled, it could either go through your estate or it could go directly to whoever you own it with, okay? We've joint tenants with right of survivorship. We mentioned that term before, I know, in a previous episode. But depending on how the real estate's titled, it could go directly to that other person that you own it with, but you can't name a beneficiary to real estate like that on a deed.
And really sounds like there's no workaround of that inheritance tax.
There's certain things you can try. Some people try to, gift things away and things like that. It's tough, though. I mean, that's a whole nother very detailed conversation, but it is tough. It is. It's tough to avoid that, and a lot of people don't plan enough that most times there's some type of inheritance tax when you pass away. But going back to your question, you can put some accounts, okay, with some banks, you can put a POD or a TOD. That does create a non-probate asset, would go to that person after you pass, they would claim it like any other beneficiary type of an account?
Yeah, that's good to know.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
It is.
Thanks for clearing that up. If people want to reach out to your practice and, you know, talk to you or your partner, Chris, what's the best way to reach you guys? Yeah,
call our office at 946-1606 or through our website at gig-law.com.
All right, and don't be afraid. Throw those questions at them. They tackle them twice a week right here on the show.